Welcome back to BizAsia America. I'm Michelle McCory. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has released its annual letter, and it sets the tone for the Microsoft founder's philanthropic agenda for the upcoming year. Mike Walter had the chance to talk with Bill Gates in New York today.
Well, you know, he's a fascinating guy, and we talked about a range of issues. But, of course, he's very committed to his commitment to basically fighting poverty and disease around the world. He talked a lot about that, but he also made a very bold prediction. Listen to what he had to say about eradicating poverty in the world.
In 1960, you could see there was a bulge of people in the rich world, and then the rest was poor, and not much in between. Now, since then, the good practices that brought the rich world up, education, infrastructure, seeds, medicine, stability, those have been adopted by lots of places, China, Mexico, Brazil. They're sort of exemplars because they were as poor as any country. China actually poorer than most, and yet by applying the latest industrial approaches, science, market-based pricing, what's happened is incredible there. So the question is, why should there be any country that doesn't participate? But my belief is that we'll have maybe less than 10 countries that are low income by that time. And the line of progress, along with some innovation, suggests that it's not a crazy goal.
Now, Gates spent an awful lot of time talking about the annual letter and the issues that he's so committed to, but he did talk a little bit about business and, of course, the industry he helped to revolutionize.
Well, Mike, some certainly very lofty goals when it comes to world poverty, but focusing on the business side, Microsoft earnings report is out this week. Did he have anything specific to say about that?
Well, you know, it's really interesting, Michelle, is he can speak so effusively about the foundation and about these issues. And then when it comes to business, he's not as talkative. But he did talk about those earnings reports. And here's what he had to say.
Well, for all software companies, innovation is the key. Your earnings sort of, happen much after you've done the innovation. So the engineering work you do today are going to drive the earnings in the 3 to 10 year time frame.
So as you can see, Michelle, he's a little bit more circumspect when the topic turns to business these days.
Right. Well, there is talk that Steve Ballmer will soon be stepping down as CEO of Microsoft. Did Bill Gates give you any indication as to whom the future heir may be?
Well, we talked about that, and when you look at it, it looks like basically a double-edged sword if you're an executive, because on one hand, you're working with the best and the brightest. Who wouldn't want that job? And I think the pay's actually pretty good. But the second part of the equation is this: you have to follow in the footsteps of Gates and Ballmer, and that's not an easy task. Listen.
Well, it's a big job. The board's not talking about what's going on with that. It's in process, and I'm sure somebody great will step up.
Michelle, when you talk to Gates and you listen to his record of accomplishment, you kind of get the feeling that this is a guy who can do anything. But then again, here he is in New York, and as you well know, since you're up here all the time, there is one thing you cannot do, and that's change the weather. And so Bill Gates was supposed to fly to London tonight, but today, Bill Gates is like that everyman. He's in the same boat as the rest of us. He can't get out of town.
Even the world's richest are subject to the forces of nature. And you can catch the rest of that interview with Bill Gates on Full Frame, which is a new show which will debut here on CCTV in the near future.